Can you hear me now? I think that's it now. I think. So, what did I do that I lost my chat? Studio mode? No. What have I done to lose? Oh, there it is. Oh, thank goodness, everything's working now. Okay, I am so sorry about that. I've had so many technical issues. I was so ready to get going, and then everything just went mad. So I sincerely apologize for that, and we are now ready to go. Yes, because if we're not ready to go now, I might as well tear my hair out and fall off this chair. Okay, so let's get started on today. So, as you'll know, this will be the third and final installment of working on the Vrilpanzer from Reichbusters. The Kickstarter only has, I think, maybe about a day left or so. Welcome to my job. And what we're going to be doing today is finishing off our metallic areas and adding a little bit of lighting effects. I also have a base which is hiding way up in the corner here, which I'm going to show you guys later. If you maybe seen the little promo bit that Mythic put out beforehand, you'll have seen the base unpainted. 29 hours left. Good job. So just over a day left. You'll see the base later because I'm going to put it on the base when everything's finished. So the first thing I want to do is get some paint into the areas on the back here. These sort of like energy coil thingies. We're going to be putting some white paint into the recesses of those as a beginning point on the glow effects, on the lighting effects. So I'm just going to be using some straight matte white, just some army painter matte white. Gosh, that is blowing out. Anyway, Vril canisters. I don't know what they're called. I just like the look of it. And I'm going to take a fairly small brush, I think. Maybe a bit too small. No such thing as being too small. That's what she said. Beer kegs. Really big things, exactly, Ben. And we're going to be painting it in with our matte white into the recesses on these. See if I can do it in a way that isn't going to let my hand completely freak out. And let you guys see what I'm trying to do as well. I was initially going to airbrush this, but I thought I'm not going to do that. I'm going to paint them in and then airbrush the coloration of the glow onto them. And the reason for that is I want to keep the glow quite tight. I don't want it to have too much spill light. Plus the red will slightly tint the metallic pieces as well, which should work to my advantage as well. And then once I have this down, I'm going to give the metallic areas another pass with a really high silver just to give them a final highlight. Okay, now I'm going to ask you guys, does this look a bit too overexposed to you? Is this easy enough to see what's happening? Or if it's a bit too bright or a bit too dark, please let me know. It's the final highlight. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Seriously, Rob. I almost forgot for a few hours just how punny my live streams are. Thanks to you guys. You make my life very meaningful. Meaningful, that is. Wish I had some inks and stuff out here, but be alright. Don't need inks. I have ghost tints. Okay, there should be just the ones on the back, yep. And there's a couple on the gun arm as well, so I'll make sure to get those too. Unbelievable. Hey Steve, how you doing, man? It just keeps getting worse and worse. Especially when you start punning about puns. It's becoming punception over here. Alright, that should be enough. I'm probably... Yeah, I'm probably not going to do the driving light. I think it looks better just being switched off. We'll paint into the visor on the head too. But we're not going to airbrush the ghost tint into it. We're just going to paint it in. Again, I'm not overly fond of a lot of spill light coming out of stuff like this, especially when it looks so recessed like this does on the head. I yet again forgot to tell my girlfriend I was streaming right now. She's gonna tell me off tonight. Alright, so that will do that. Let's get the two that are on the weapon arm. If you can hear that noise, it's definitely not me. No, it's definitely not Thomas either. Yep, totally innocent Thomas. You know, he comes in here every 7 months or so and completely wrecks everything we have, don't you? Oh, here he comes.
That's the way you like me doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So that's all the white parts done. Whoop! It's all the white parts done for the lighting. So while we're waiting for all that stuff to completely settle and dry, we're gonna do our final highlight. Because did I have to do the shake as well? Oh dear. Right. We're going to give them the metallic parts a little final pass. Hopefully, if I have the correct silver here, which I do. And it's going to be a very bright silver. We're going to be using shining silver for this because it's going to do two things. It's going to make the metallic parts really stand out and really crisp on the edges. Also, when we get to the airbrushing the tint on, it's also going to catch a bit of the tint and give you a little bit of a sense of a light, a spill light, but a very subtle one. Because I really don't like over-the-top source lighting. Not a fan of that at all. It's not bad looking when it's done right, and it's on a model that really suits it, like someone holding a lantern and it's all like down one side. That's fantastic. Not on a weapon of war though. You try to keep your light spillage to a minimum. Kinda. I guess in Weird World War it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to be doing a little bit of a dry brush, and actually using my dry brush for a dry brush this time. Are my painter Citadel paints? Is it just a preference, or is one really better than the other? It's easier for me to use Army Painter in work, in the office, but we also have a large selection of Vallejo because when we first started off, Vallejo was the thing. Army Painter didn't really exist at the time, so it was Vallejo and Army Painter. They're both great paints because they both use dropper bottles, and their pigmentation is great. You have tons of range between Vallejo and Army Painter. I mean, Vallejo does Panzer Aces, model color, game color, air, everything. And Army Painter does really good paints for solid base coats and solid highlights and stuff like that. So it's once you learn the different paint ranges a little bit, you can start to mix and match as you see fit. So at the moment I'm sort of using very much a mixture of the two companies, and I occasionally throw some GW paints in there as well. Just whenever it suits, you know, whenever they have the correct paint color or style that I want. Right, so the final highlight, using the shining silver, we're going to apply it very lightly on the likes of the gun barrels here. And it's just to get that higher detail showing up. And we're not going to be dry brushing it all the way around, just the upper surfaces and the edges, the frontal edges of the gun barrels. Just like that, and that gives us that real definition to that weapon, makes it look really heavy. Yeah, with GW paints. Oh yes, and Steve just mentioned Scale 75. Yes, Scale 75 do excellent metallic paints, and they do a lot of really other interesting paints. It's website. It's really just it's checking what you like. What I tend to do, if you have enough money, is to go out and buy a little starter set of each brand, a little bit of Army Painter, a little bit of Vallejo, some Scale 75, some Games Workshop, and just try them out. You know, even just the basic 4 or 5 color starter sets are great to get an idea of what sort of applications you can use each paint for. But the problem is you can very quickly drown yourself in a huge selection of paints and not be overly sure what you want them for, which is my problem because I've got everything from Games Workshop to AK Interactive and at home anyway, and it's very hard to decide which paint I want to use for particular projects. You know, who does the better metallic? Oh, well, it's maybe these guys, but this metallic's really good too. So when you're at this point of the highlighting, or the dry brushing, I'm always trying to highlight vertically at this point. So I'm always trying to make sure the brush strokes are all going in the same direction. So always catching the upper edges of a piece. Even if this piece might end up being in shadow, it's nice to have just a little bit of contrast in there too. What do you think? Maybe a little bit of a highlight on the ammo feed as well? I think so. Yeah, that should bring that up quite nicely. Alright, so I'm still trying to see if this is too bright for you guys to even see what I'm doing, but no one's really told me otherwise. So, let's move on. I'm gonna add a bit of water to my brush because it's starting to get a bit tacky. I don't want it doing that. Is he waving? He is.
Hello viewers, I'm eating Thomas Menny's amazing Belgian chocolate. And that's not even a euphemism.
You sound actually kind of drunk. There's not even a
The chocolate
euphemism.
is so good, and for big guys like me, chocolate has that effect.
Yeah.
How are you getting on?
Doing good. We're doing the Europe style final highlight.
Oh. Now, do people know the pencil technique?
If they don't, I would show them, but it's not as applicable here.
Well, why don't you show them, just so as they know it for the future?
Yeah, can do.
The pencil technique. I'll leave you with that one. You always learn something new with On Tabletop and Mythic Games. Not right, John?
Well, we do try. Right. We will finish this metallic and then we will do the pencil. Or we may do the pencil last. I'm not sure yet. I think we might do it last. I think once it's actually on the base, we'll tidy it up with that. 2B or not 2B. Not even sure what type of pencil that is. A 2B would probably be better, wouldn't it? Again, just trying to be very light with the brushing in this area because we don't want to saturate it with the paint and end up making a slight mess of it. So. I think that would honestly be enough. Yeah, absolutely, Jerry. again. Going to keep it nice and simple, very light. Just picking out little areas that would shine or shimmer. Try and not go over the top with it too much. Make sure I don't have too much. All surfaces I've presumed. Good. Okay. Yeah, that is going to do for that. Back to Moana again, yeah. Just waiting for people to get out of the way. It is so shiny. Okay. Right, let's get the airbrush fired up and let's get one of our ghost tints put in. And I think for the glow on the back on these sort of energy pod thingy-madoodles, we're going to be using a bit of a red. In particular, I'm going to be using Ghost Tint Fresh Blood. This is all from this company, which I can't pronounce. And we're going to put it neat through the airbrush, and then we'll lightly apply it to all those areas. And by neat, I mean don't thin it, because it's already quite a thin fluid anyway. I'm also going to drop the pressure on the airbrush, because I don't want it to overspray absolutely everywhere. Badger, yeah. Okay, the range I can't pronounce, but yeah. Make sure the needle is clean, because this stuff will gum up needles on airbrushes very quick. So you have to keep an eye out for that when you're using Ghost Tint for an extended period of time. Yep, that should work nicely. Alright, let's have a go and see what happens. Hopefully you can see this okay. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. Have I missed anything? There's one there that could do with a bit more. There's another one I missed. Okay, can you see that, or does it still look a little too bright for you guys? Now obviously we're going to be matte coating this as well. Maybe not right during the video, but once it's matte coated it will be the photographs you'll see later on. I think that looks okay. Like I said, it's there, but it's not overpowering, and I really didn't want the glow to be just so bright. So I'm going to move that out of the way and work on the ones on the gun arm. And check my nozzle again, or needle again, because it is already starting to gum up. Okay, let's go for it again. Being very careful here to try and not get too much overspray on areas that I don't want it to be. Yep, I think that looks pretty consistent to the rest of it. Now, that's all I want to do with the airbrush, so I'm going to very quickly clean it out. And I hope people are still able to see and hear this. You all gone very quiet again. It makes me worried. Yep, still okay. Oh, I had a glitch. It seemed to reconnect again. Hopefully it's alright now. Anybody miss anything there while that happened, or was it just a very quick reset? And yes, I know people are always out to get me. Oi. Right, the only other thing left then is the visor on the head, and I'm going to ask for some opinions here. Right, fair enough, Dave. What I'd like to ask is, do you want it in red or do you want it in green? Because I was kind of thinking green for that sort of night vision-y sort of appearance, or, you know, like an internal light, rather than just doing the whole thing in red. Or do you think red would be a good tie-in color? Lena, awesome, good to see you. Pink, no. Commodore Rob, no. Mick, no. Okay, one for green, one for red. Another for green. Yeah, so red's the power source, and I'm thinking for the visor to do the green. Got another for red. More people saying red. What about an orange? I don't have an orange at the minute. Well, I do, but pink, blue. Ah! I'm doing it green. There was only two choices here, and you still, all of you are, you know, asking for things that aren't on the list, guys. I think we'll like the green. At least I think I hope we'll like the green. So let's try it and see what we think. Turquoise. It has that sort of bulletproof glass look to it. You know, sort of green tinted visor with just a tiny little bit of light coming out. So I think that green will look alright once it's dried in. That should be kind of cool. Yes, to be fair, I was complaining you were all being too quiet, and now you're being the exact opposite. It's fine, fine. I can suffer that. Now then. Now leak is an entirely disgusting word. Complementary color for red, good choice. You'll let me away with it, Mick, okay? Oh, thank goodness I have been forgiven. Right, fellas, ladies and gents, my apologies. We are now ready for actually putting the thing together properly with glue this time. Especially around Christmas. So what I'm going to be doing first is taking a file and just removing all my primer paint and stuff from the joints. Just because you know that in time that paint won't adhere to itself very much and will eventually come away. You can carry on, but just remember how disappointed I am. Alright, I'll get the... I probably need a more pokey shaped file than this. Take this one instead. That's a good pokey shape. I assume that the stream reset itself again. I didn't see any reconnecting thing though. Okay, and just to wrap this up, I'm going to file on underneath the feet as well, because we are going to be putting this onto a base that's already it's very clippy. Okay, we'll be putting it onto a base that has a lot of paint on it, but it's also quite a rough surface, so the super glue should adhere to it okay, but I need to make sure that it adheres to this. Going to silent running. Launch it over. Alright, Dave, have a good one. Right. I'm gonna clean this joint up a little bit too. Not much, so as it should be okay. Right, I have some super glue. Where did I just put the pokey file? It's over here. So we'll just get in there. You can see where I've taken it apart, so. Right. Super glue the head in first. That way we can pose everything off the position of the head. At least that's my approach to doing this sort of thing. I think that ought to work. Pretty simple. It's almost in the position it was before. So I'll let that sit a minute. Okay. let's get the arms on then. So we'll start with the shield. We'll put a little bit of glue on there and just spread it out. No historical tangents today, I'm afraid. I'm working with something that's slightly less than historical. Oh, careful, I nearly broke... I think I've practically broke the shoulder off again. I did that yesterday. It was no good whatsoever. Gotta be careful with the 3D print aspect of this. Is this even joining in there? Let's just try and put it in square and see what happens. I don't think it's... No, it's not connecting. So let's... No, Jerry, it's not. Let's just add some glue to the top of the shoulder because most of that is fairly hidden. That way we can pose the arm a little bit more to our liking. Jerry, stop it. Right, when that dries, that should be in pretty solidly, so let's get the gun arm in. Ow. Now I'm pretty sure I know this one actually fits into the socket properly, so... Again guys, don't forget I'm working with a 3D print prototype here. It will not be this awkward on our production mini. And there we go. Let's try and pose it so that the ammo belt is hanging in a way that actually looks correct, and it's pointing more or less in the direction of the gun. Okay, no, that's not going to work either. Ah! Okay. More glue around the socket then. In you go. Round you go. And let's hold it in place for probably a decade. Maybe. Okay, cool. We now have our Vrilpanzer constructed. And I sounded like something out of Command and Conquer by saying that. Vrilpanzer constructed. Oh man, I absolutely love that. That's so badass. Right, let's bring in our base. Ta-da! So the base we're using is from MicroArt Studios, and I've been given permission by Az to plug it because it's such a nice base. And what it is one of their highway bases, the Ellipse 120mm. And I just seen this base because I remember saying to you guys yesterday I was going to do a base, and if I was going to do it, I was going to have it painted and ready to glue down. So this was all pretty simple, a few bits of spraying with some, you know, do you remember my kill team video where I'm doing the double spray can thing? Just that a load of times, and then dry brushing up the barrels to make that, give them that sort of rusty orange look, and then a bit of wash here and there. But this base really fitted the idea I was going for. So our Vrilpanzer is basically going to be like that, or if we want to make it a bit more interesting, I think have the barrels off to the more open side without the shield on it. And I think that's going to look pretty sweet. Maybe slide him around a little bit more. Yeah, that kind of works. I don't want the rusty barrels interfering with the ammo belt though. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I think we're on to a winner. So this stream might actually be a bit shorter than usual, but we have more or less finished the Vrilpanzer, and I'm over the moon for it. So let's glue it down, and then what I'll do is show you what Warren was talking about, the pencil technique on some of the panel edges and stuff. So hopefully he doesn't fall apart now at this stage. That would be a bit embarrassing. Let's just do a little bit of super glue around the feet, spread it out. Same on the other foot. And just use the side of the glue to spread it out. A bit more. And hold it down there for a few minutes, or a few seconds. Hopefully it'll adhere pretty quick. Well, it should adhere pretty quick. Whether it will or not is another thing. I know, I'm just totally jinxing myself. Every time I say it should be fine, it's never fine. It's nearly adhered, so that's fine. We'll just not play with it for a minute or two, but let's see if I can get a better view of it there. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. I need spent shells actually, Mick. That would have been a really good idea. I should have, at the start of the week when I remembered this was coming up, I should have went and bought a whole pile of brass 37 mils or something like that, you know, 1/35. Probably 37 millimeters would be about right for that size of shell. Because I have 20 mils at home, but they're too small. But apart from that, that's so cool. Is he glued? Do I lift him? Yeah, he's good. Now, let's play with some pencils. So, if you guys don't know what the pencil technique is that Warren was talking about, let's find a spot here. Let's do in the top of the shield here. Hopefully you can see it. Make sure it's in focus. So doing the pencil technique is really just how you add a little bit more of a brighter highlight or more metallic highlight. So let's just take the edge of the pencil here and just rub it across the top edge of that shield. And what you get is, because a pencil lead is made of graphite, you actually get a very true metal look to it. No, I don't have any offcuts, unfortunately. But yes, that's what I would. That's one way of doing it. Not of wire anyway. No, wider offcuts of wire. So yeah, that's basically how you use the pencil to do that. So you just edge a little bit. It actually makes it a bit easier when you're doing something that is a worn metal, rather than going in and hardlining it with a metallic paint on the side of a brush, when you can just use a pencil and it works just as well. Now of course you don't want to be using an HB pencil all the time, which is what this one is. As Jerry says, you can use a softer pencil and it will give you it will make the technique a little easier. But yeah, I think we've pretty much done it. There's one spot there that's annoying me, and if you look in just down this side of the head, you see a little bit of the inside of the 3D print there. I'm going to get some black paint and cover that up, because that's annoying me. In fact, we'll use some Necromancer Cloak. It is absolutely great for 15mm tanks. What will happen to the model now? It will come home with me. It'll get matte coated and then it'll go home with me. So I'm just gonna get in there with some Necromancer cloak, which is a nice dark grey. I just want to hide the fact that that's part of the 3D print of the model and not meant to be a detail in and of itself. So darkening it out like that helps. It makes it look more like there's a little bit of detail in there that's supposed to be there, just not a piece I forgot to paint. Yeah, Recon, that is the moment where you can make a slip of the brush and that's a problem. But no, I managed to save it alright there. So let's see how that visor turned out. Yeah, it turned out okay. Once this has a whole matte coat, or once this is matted down and stuff, it will look pretty spot on. I think Thomas is in filming at the minute, so I don't have any matte varnish here on me, which is a bit of a shame. I would have loved to have continued on and just matte coated it here and now, but yeah, I'm very happy with this, guys. And I know this has only been just shy of an hour, but it really wasn't going to take much to finish this off, and I think the end product is really cool for what is essentially, 5 hours work. I didn't touch this at all off camera, so you guys have seen it painted from start to finish in 5 hours. Yeah, I could get Thomas to make some shells actually, couldn't I? Anyway, with it being around the hour mark, we're going to call it at that. And I really hope you guys have enjoyed watching it. Of course, if you're on Backstage, you can go back and check out the first 2 parts, where you'll see us starting from essentially just primer up and seeing how the camouflage and stuff went down. I need to get a decal and heavy Gothic script with a name. That would look pretty cool, wouldn't it? Is there anything actually we could do? Do you know what? We haven't scarred up the shield very much, have we? Well, do you know what? We're going to do another 10-15 minutes because the stream was rubbish at starting this morning. Or today. So we're going to scar up the shield. We're going to put some newer battle damage onto the shield because it looks kind of odd having all these deep gouges and stuff in the shield, but everything's painted over. So screw it, guys. We're going to go a little longer. We're going to start with a little bit of gunmetal, and let's get that down there and start. That's what you have before you teleport away. Is that Garnakash? Thank you for the follow. So what I'm going to do first is take my dry brush, and not entirely dry brush. See what I'm doing? But what I am going to do is use the edge or the side of my brush to get into all this scarred area and start to work some silver paint into that. Like I said, guys, it doesn't make much sense to have that shield with all that scarring and stuff on it and not have, you know, have it all nicely painted. So the bullet damage I'm not so worried about because it could have been not as recent as this stuff. So I'm just gonna stipple in and around the shield here, get that damage really heavily embedded there. And I'm going to just dab into the deeper parts of the damaged areas. again, like I said, I don't mind the bullet damage not looking so recent, because I want it to look like it's been repaired a few times in the field, sort of haphazardly. So they've obviously tried to, they've obviously repainted it a couple of times, but not had the time to fix like some of the more minor dings and scratches on it. While we have this shining silver on my brush though, I am going to very quickly touch up some of the hard edges on the body. Make it look like that paint has worn, practically right through to bare metal and is going through some consistent wear and tear. Particularly on the head area, which is a bit hard for you guys to see. But this is the alternative of doing like a hard edge highlight here. This is just swiping the brush across certain areas just to pick them out as a detail location. And as I said before, when you're doing camouflage and stuff like that, you want to make it work and then you want to break it. And the way you break it is by picking out areas of high wear and tear and just doing little highlighty bits here and there. Same on the gun area there too. So I'm not doing that too much, just enough to show up some of the more interesting details there. Now, could these doors be more squeaky in this office? I think we need a lot of WD-40 in here. A lot of WD-40. Right, last step then. We're going to take some... where is it? A little bit of dark tone wash. And we're just going to run it into the recesses of that damage. So, take a slightly smaller brush this time, guys. And just very lightly go in there and just let it define some of that damage. Same down here. And pick out a few of the deeper bullet gouges as well. But not too much, you don't want them to look like holes that are straight through the armor. Right, I think, ladies and gentlemen, that will complete my Vrilpanzer, and I can assure you that once I'm off stream and I've got it nicely matte coated, I'll be passing a load of images over to Mythic, and they'll be putting out a post probably on their Facebook page, so keep an eye out for that and we'll get some proper images of this thing completely finished. However, for now, thank you so much for watching. No decals, no decals. Again, thank you very much for watching. It's been great having you all here for the 3 days, more or less the 5 hours 20 minutes that it's taken to paint this thing from start to finish. It's been absolutely great. Thank you so much to Mythic Games for giving me the opportunity to play with one of these at this time. It's been a fantastic ride, and I hope a lot of you learned a few new techniques. I know that Rich from Two Fat Lardies, who was in, was watching this live and watching it later on and realized, hang on a minute, pre-shading is a really cool way to go. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and I will see you all again hopefully in the not too distant future. So take care, everybody. Goodbye.